Well, my name is Kathy, and I've come to you today from Christian Aid, as you've already heard. And it's an opportunity, really, for me to say a big thank you as I begin to talk to you today. It's not often that we get the opportunity to personally thank you. So here I am today to say thank you to you for what you do for our charity every year. Some of you may be doing things that we can't see as a charity, so this is, again, a chance for me to thank you for that, for your prayers and for your support. Today I bring you a really simple message based on the passage that we just heard from the Gospel of John, where we're told about the command of God that we are to obey. And it's a very simple one, but a very deep one. My command, says Jesus, is this: love one another as I have loved you. And although that's very simple, sometimes we find it quite difficult to define love. But I would say, although it can be difficult to define, it's actually easy to spot. It's easy to spot when you see love being shown for other people. Jesus says we have to love others, and we can see that love in action in each other. Jesus has also told us that we need to bear fruit, and that was mentioned in the passage too. And again, that's the fruit of love that we can see and spot in each other. Our showing love for each other shouldn't be out of a sense of duty or obligation, but should rather be a willing and a joyful expression of gratitude to God for his love. And when we think about that willingness, we think of the supreme example of love, where Jesus willingly laid down his life for his friends. And we're told in that passage that that's the supreme love. Greater love has no one than that they would lay down their lives for their friends. That was a willing sacrifice. And Jesus endured suffering because he could see the joy that was beyond that suffering. How can we, at this time of year when it's Christian Aid Week, express our love for God by loving others? Well, I would suggest to you that it's an ideal time of year to be doing that. Churches across the land will be starting their Christian Aid Week celebrations and coming together to raise funds and support the charity in what we're seeking to do. And this time, we're particularly focused on the devastating effects of climate change around the world. The theme for this year is water. You may have heard the water music, very appropriately played today. And I just wonder if you'd like to reflect for a moment on your morning so far, and how many times you may have turned on a tap this morning. You may have made coffee or tea. You may have washed dishes. You may have set the dishwasher going, washing machine. You may have had a shower, a bath, watered some plants indoors, outdoors. We turn on taps all the time, don't we? And we don't even think about the resource, the wonderful resource that water is. But for communities that are suffering from the devastating effects of climate change, they think about water all the time. For us, it's always there, but for them, it isn't. And if you look at your envelope today that's in front of you, you'll see a picture of a woman called Rose. Rose is carrying some canisters. Her daily life in Kenya, in Kitui County, is carrying those canisters to the nearest water source. It's a 6-hour journey, a daily 6-hour journey. Rose is 68 years old. She is struggling to make that journey, but she has to do it because she's bringing up grandchildren. And as a responsible grandma, she wants to provide for her grandchildren, so she has to do that walk. The cycle of extreme weather has made things very difficult for Rose, for her community, and for many, many communities like hers in Kenya. There's drought for an extended part of the year, and then there's torrential rain that floods. And whereas you might think, oh, so there is rain, yes, but it's really difficult to capture and keep and contain that rain without sufficient receptacles, reservoirs, dams. And the local dam, the nearby dam to where Rose lives, has dried up, but also it's very small in its capacity and doesn't serve the community well. So that's why she has to go on this 6-hour walk. The fact that she suffers with that daily journey is really a result of the changing climate. She says it wasn't always like this. These are her words. When I was a girl, there was plenty of food. Now I worry a lot about food. I pray to God that the rainfall will become normal like it used to be. Normal meaning predictable. It used to be predictable, and then they could base their farming year around it, but now it's very different, and the crops are shriveling and drying or being flooded and washed away. The answer to this cycle of chaos and uncertainty and fear is a very simple one, very simple. And it's very cost effective too. So Christian Aid are providing earth dams. Now those earth dams are built simply with cement. And we can get that cement very easily through our partners there in Kenya and build these dams. They need to be very large, they need to be very local and accessible. And then along the dam, there will be some water points with taps, quite simply. So they are very easy to set up. And we've been setting them up around the area where Rose lives. What they really need is a reliable local water source, and it's easily done. So we know that this struggle, this daily struggle, doesn't have to be if we can all provide the right solution. So what we need to do is resource those partners there to bring this about. And gradually and slowly, communities are being transformed through our work there, through partners. So our love for others will lead us to want to confront the struggle, the daily struggle that climate chaos brings. It will lead us towards the struggle. Why do I say that? Jesus' love for us led him towards the struggle and the pain and the suffering. It didn't lead him to run away from it. But going towards that suffering led him to the other side of that, which was joy and transformation. And it's the same for us. When we confront the struggle, when we take action and do something to change the situation for people like Rose, there is joy and there is transformation for us as the donors, as the givers, but also for those who live in those communities. So how can we show our love in action this Christian Aid Week? Well, churches across the land are helping us to raise funds for the dams to be constructed. For £100, we can provide 450 kilograms of cement to create the dams. For £50, we can provide some taps, simple taps. We can have, they're about £5 each, so 10 taps for £50, and then that's a really simple and cost-effective solution there in that situation. But we can't all give, and there are situations where, we're prevented from doing that because of our own constraints, but we can do something. And we always like to say that people can give, they can act, and they can pray. Conveniently, it spells gap, filling the gap. Give, act, pray. So what action can we take this year? Well, we have a petition which I'm going to leave with you today for climate justice. This is the year in the UK when the G7 is happening here in the UK, the COP in November in Glasgow, the climate conference. Big things are happening, and in the build-up to that we have this petition calling on our government to drop the debt for poorer nations like Kenya, so that they no longer have to struggle under the crippling debts that we've imposed. But also calling on them to invest in green energy and also to stop fossil fuel funding as well. So if you'd like to take action in that way, that's a way that you could really help us and help communities like Rose's. And then prayer. It's not last because it's of least importance. It's really important that we commit ourselves to pray for Rose, for her community, and for many people like her. Through giving, through acting, through prayer, we show our love in action, and we do what Jesus has told us to do. Love one another as I have loved you. And in doing so, we bear fruit that will last. Thank you.